Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dan, the voice behind ThatKaitoDan, and welcome back to the RWBY Ship Name Analysis project. If you missed the opening segment focusing mostly on Ruby and Weiss's many relationships, click the link shown down below. Before we start this segment though, please be aware of some of the content that may contain some adult themes, questionable content, or possible spoilers up to RWBY's 3rd volume, so please watch with caution. Otherwise, let's return to the analysis. Blake and Yang. Possibly the most popular ship in the entire fandom. Blake and Yang's colours mean that we get Bumblebee. The interesting thing with this name though is that it has 2 spellings that's been used as names. Some people like using the girl's initials of B and Y to spell it like this kind of Bumblebee instead. Blake and Jean. Jean's air sickness and Blake's cat-like features become the unfortunate yet kind of funny name of Feline Sick. But I guess if you feel sick with that name option, there's always Lunar Eclipse, the phase of the moon when it's in Earth's shadow. Based here with the shadowy traits of Blake and the crescents of Jean's emblem that can work as the moon. Blake and Nora. In Beauty and the Beast, the Beauty refers to Belle, who Blake is inspired by. Meanwhile in Norse mythology, Freya is the goddess that, among other things, is one tied to beauty. And of course, when you think of Norse mythology, you think of Thor, Nora's thundery inspiration. Mash up everything here and you can get Freya's thunder. Or I guess if you want something a bit more modern and catchy, there's Thunder! Thunder! Thundercats! Ho! Blake and Pyrrha. Pyrrha is the perfect ship name for the kitty cat and Miss Nikos, especially since it's more PG than the mix of magnetism and felineness for Pussy Magnet. Blake and Ren. As Nora said herself, Ren is basically a ninja, though maybe not the kind found in Blake's favourite smut fiction, Ninjas of Love. There's also the yummy watermelon to use, which works here given the two's trademark colours of black and green. Blake and Sun. These two are quite capable partners, and fans of them together can use names like Eclipse, like the shadowy phase that either the moon or the sun has at some point. That last one could also work into a black sun. Blake and Neptune. Thanks to Neptune's water theme, Blake could possibly enjoy some catfish if they ever went out on a date. Blake and Sage. Via Blake's trademark colour and Sage's spiciness, we can have Pepper, though trading Sage's path for his height, and he could make for an effective cat favouring scratching post. Blake and Scarlet. Scarlet best be careful of Blakebeard, Remnant's version of possibly Blackbeard, if he ever wishes to chase after Blake on his quest for booty. The bottom kind, not the treasure kind. Blake and Velvet. Many magic shows have their fair share of disappearing acts, kinda like Blake when she uses a semblance, or some use Velvet's fellow rabbits as props. Either way, it's no surprise that these two could make for a hell of a magic trick. If these two aren't inspired by a certain song, and like their animal brethren, are doing it like mammals do on the Discovery Channel. Blake and Coco. Blake seems to choose tea as her preferred drink, but with Coco around, maybe she could try some Java with some dark chocolate on the side. Blake and Fox. The badass feline and the nimble fox make for some skilled predators when they use their weapons to slice and dice any grim. Blake and Yatsuhashi. If Blake didn't want the black-coloured licorice confectionery sweet from Yatsu, maybe her cat-like side might enjoy the treat of some catnip? Blake and Cinder. Flames and felines. Something you may see from a hellcat or from a familiar, often a witch's best friend. Blake and Roman. Both of these two wear eye cosmetics, and both have their attire colours working well into the name of Sephora, a cosmetic store chain. Roman's also got a nice bowl hat on top of his head, a bit more refined than the silly headwear found upon the head of one Cat in the Hat. Blake and Neo. The Cat Girl and the Ice Cream Killer. Yeah, the obvious one here involves cats and cream, so we can get Kitty Cream. But there's also Calico, a kind of domestic cat noted for its white fur with patches of other colours, kinda like Miss Neo. Blake and Mercury. We also have another kind of cat name used here, this time for the pairing of Miss Belladonna and the silver-haired assassin, that being the grey-furred Maltese cat. If that's not to your taste, there's more grey to use, kind of about 50 shades of grey even. Maybe that's a smut fit that even Blake won't go into. Blake and Emerald. If Emerald had the feline prowess that Blake offers, she could be an even more effective cat burglar than the likes of Catwoman. Blake and Adam. Ah yes, one of the more rockier and darker relationships in the show, so much so that the fans have actually kind of accepted that the previously most common name of Toradonna, which was the merger of the two faunus' last names, should be replaced with animal abuse, obviously working here since Adam is a bit abusive to Blake. Blake and Junior. A sharp-dressed man like Junior might not wear this item himself, but hopefully any fur coats that he might have seen at his days at the club don't have any black cat fur. Blake's colour theme also adds on to Junior's bear elements to make a black bear, which is actually the meaning of Junior's real name, Heijong. Blake and Militia. Sure, cats love a good cat scratch sometimes, though I doubt any would like to have any from Militia when she's got those claws. Blake and Melanie. Nothing like a nice clear dark night with some spots of white stars up in the sky to make for a nice starry night. Blake and Ozpin. An obvious one to make here, Teacher's Pet is the name for remnant black cat faunus, pairing up with the headmaster of Beacon. Blake and Glinda. Black cats like Blake also feature in a lot of black magic, though if you opt for Glinda's purple theme, you could go for a purple Cheshire cat, like the one seen in Alice in Wonderland. Blake and Oobleck. Both these two could share some social talk when they're having a cup of tea together, though I guess they could take inspiration from Oobleck's hair colour and go for some green tea instead. Blake and Port. Port's rocking a magnificent mustache on his face, I must say, and that leads into the use of whiskers for his pairing with the cat faunus. Blake and Ironwood. You can mix the iron part of Ironwood's name and Blake's feline traits to make a metal-themed steel cat, or the wood part of Ironwood's name with Blake's colours to go for Darkwood. Blake and Crow. Both a black cat and a crow are seen by many as animals that bring bad omens with them, the cat being a sign of bad luck and the crow being tied to death. Beyond that, we've also got Nightcap, the term for when someone, like an avid drinker like Crow, might like a drink before the blackness of night beckons sleep. Blake and Winter. The snow leopard is a kind of feline that wears the whiteness of winter as its main hair colour. Blake and Penny. The double bow wearing gals next, that one obviously coming from the girls both rocking bows on their head. If not that, then how about mixing the fact that Blake is a cat with Penny's technology roots to refer to the popular mecha series Voltron. Blake and Cardin. The cat called the Cardin is one ship name for these two, calling on Cat's fondness for going on the hunt for birds like cardinals. Blake and Russell. Russell is actually inspired by Will Scarlet of Robin Hood fame, since Will is sometimes written as using two-bladed weapons as well. He's also seen as a bit of a dandy, a man who is often noted for fancy touches to his person like the use of some refined language, kinda like poetry, something that Blake might have read in her time as a book fan. Blake and Dove. Suffering succotash is the catchphrase of Looney Tunes Sylvester the Cat, who is of course notable for chasing birds. Either they are Tweety birds, or I guess in this case, a dove bird. Blake and Sky. Blake's Black Shadows theme meets with Mr. Lark's first name to give us the ship name Midnight. Blake and Raven. Since most seem to see Raven as a bit of a dominant woman, I guess they can also see her as a possible dominatrix if she made use of Blake's ribbon to tie her partner down. That is if the Catgirl doesn't catch this Raven and make it Nevermore, referring not to the Grimm, but actually the origin of that name, Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, which has the phrase, "quoth the Raven, nevermore. Blake and Summer. This is kind of easier to explain. Summer and night means we get summer night. Blake and Neon. The fact that we've got two cat-based faunuses here leads to the ship name of Nyan Cats, based on the Nyan Cat meme that the Spunky Kitty is inspired by. There's also Blacklight, a specific kind of light often used in dance clubs that use ultraviolet rays to make some cool effects on the dance floor. Blake and Reese. These two clashed in the opening contest of the 3rd volume, and thanks to Blake's colour theme and Reese's hoverboard, you can make a blackboard. Blake and Tucson. Blake could have easily gone to Tucson's bookshop once or twice when she was looking for new reading material. Who knows, she could have even joined a book club when she got free time. Blake and Banesaw. This name was kinda used before, but it's here again to describe Blake and Banesaw's sharp-edged weapons, that being some slice and dice action. Blake and Zwei. Yes, there is a ship name for Blake and the resident pet mascot of the show. The faunus' disdain for the corgi does lead into Fur Fight being their name. Yang and Jean. Poor Jean, another ship name based on his air sickness. He even puked on Yang too, if you recall, earning him the nickname Vomit Boy. Though something a bit more kind to use is Firewall. Just like Jean's shield, it's a handy defensive aid, though this one more for computers, not for huntsmen. Yang and Nora. With Yang's punches and Nora's hammer, these two only can cause nothing but explosions and even a lot more collateral damage. Yang and Pyrrha. Trade Nora for Pyrrha though, and these two could easily be most people's contenders for the bombshell babes of their teams. Though there's also the fire that Yang brings that goes well with Pyrrha's Greek origin to make some Greek fire, kinda like the flamethrower. Yang and Ren. Now this one follows Yang's pattern with Blake in that it has a ship name with two different spellings. The notable yellow coloured sunflower can be used normally or spelled with a pair's initials at the end. But they could also use Double Dragons, the name of a video game that works in China's use of dragons in its culture, and Yang's last name in Chinese meaning Little Dragon. Yang and Sun. There's a lot of heat possible when mixing Sun and Yang, kinda like a solar flare emitting off from the actual sun. Gotta love this one though, meshing Yang's fire and Sun's monkeyness to call upon a Chimchar, the monkey Pokemon with firepower. Yang and Sage. A different kind of sage comes with wisdom instead of, spices, and often people see dragons as wise creatures. Thus, Wise Dragons is one ship name for use. Though for those who love a bit of zing to a relationship, nothing says hot like spicy. Yang and Scarlet. Another spice pops up here too, the equally hot Chili. One other name I've also seen pop up recently thanks to Yang's missing arm is a famous face ripped right out of Scarlet's inspiration, the villainous Captain Hook. Yang and Neptune. Now the pair who wore their own pair of combat goggles during the Bumblebee ride downtown. If you add some heat to Neptune's element of water, you could enjoy a nice soothing hot spring as well. Yang and Coco. These two are quite attractive gals who are very savvy with ranged fire. Definitely some hot shots indeed. There's also the obvious name of Hot Chocolate thanks to Yang heating up the chocolatey drink. Yang and Velvet. From my experiences, a rapid punch is a cheeky attack to the back of someone's head. It's a bit of foul play if you ask me. Regardless, Yang being fond of puns surely wouldn't resist being with Velvet and calling themselves the Bun Pun Pair. Yang and Fox. 3 ship names I found comes from the very same source, Mozilla and Firefox, with Firefox getting a very special spelling with the 2 initials again. These names all coming from the internet browser Mozilla Firefox. Yang and Yatsuhashi. A simple ship name first, that being the combination of Yatsu and Yang to form Yatsu Yang, though something a bit more creative is mixing in Yang's heat and the rice found in Yatsuhashi's treats to make some fried rice. Yang and Cinder. both girls here are packing some intense heat in their firearms, be it Yang's weapons or Cinder's actual hands. There's also another one here which is good for avid rock fans, a bit of Dragon Force playing in some Through the Fire and Flames. Yang and Mercury, the puncher and the kicker, the gauntlets and the greaves. Both of these two also share something other than their similar styled weapons too, that being the fact that they're both missing some limbs, thus the ship name Disabler. Yang and Emerald. The Master Thief has likely stolen a fair share of yellow and gold jewelry among other gems during a time of crime. Imagine though if Yang was her partner in crime. Their combo semblances of heat and hallucinations would be a nasty match for anyone to try and deal with. Yang and Roman. Roman's name and Yang's fire plays into both names being based on the same product, that being the Roman candle firework. Yang and Neo. These two famously clashed back on the train during Volume 2, but if they did so in the kitchen, they could possibly make a nice baked Alaska, or I guess Yang's colours could make for the use of a golden gaytime ice cream bar. And yes, that is indeed a real ice cream product. Yang and Adam. I doubt Yang might love a guy who'd harm her partner or rid her of a limb, but regardless, Adam's bull-like features, Yang's Goldilocks inspiration, and their spurts of rage can give us either the bear and the bull, or just a very scary raging bull. Yang and Junior. Junior may be based on the little bear, but unlike when Goldilocks helped herself to the three bears' home, some things weren't just right for poor Junior when Yang had the barman by the, well, disco balls, demanding him to call me sir during the shakedown. Yang and Penny. Trivia time. Did you know that there's a Human Torch, the fire-powered superhero in the world of comics, that is actually a fire-powered android, not a human? Works here since, again, Penny is an android. For something more dark though, there's 75% off, playing off the fact that Yang lost a quarter of herself with her arm, and, well, Penny was kinda ripped in half. Yang and Melanie. Yang rumbled with the Malachite twins in the past, so naturally, a ship with them both exists. Here we have kickboxing. Fitting given both lasses here use the style of combat that works in punches and kicks. Yang and Militia. For the other Yang and Malachite pairing, we got Fight Club. I would describe its origin, but I can't break the first rule. Regardless, it does work since the two did turn Junior's club into this. Yang and Cardin. Cardin's inspiration famously aided the charge that would result in Joan of Arc being burned at the stake. Something I'm sure wouldn't be far from Yang's mind when it comes to dealing with the bully. She could though just return his bullying strikes with her own kind of sucker punch. Yang and Russell. Russell's most remembered lines came as he squealed in fear over the Ursa that came at him and his team. The Mohawk lad shouting "Ursa, Ursa" before bumping into Yang. It made for a good remix though. Yang and Dove. I guess if Yang ever wanted to roast Dove, especially for his part in the bullying at Beacon, I guess she could just turn the bird brain into some fried chicken. Yang and Sky. When you look up in the sky during dawn, you can see some notable Yang-like colours, like yellow and orange. Yang and Ozpin. Yang is the resident Goldilocks, but with Ozpin's time traits, I guess these two could be Goldie Clocks instead. Ozpin might also ask Yang just to help her out with the drink and turn it into some hot coffee. Yang and Glinda. A classic claim for people used to shout during witch trials is also a ship name for the Firecracker and Miss Goodwitch, that being Burn the Witch. Other than that, there's also double D's, referring not just to the grade that a teacher like Glinda would hand out during her time at school, but also a possible breast size given both females notable chests. Yang and Port. A definitely adult-themed ship name now, thanks to Yang's flirty nature and Port's well-groomed facial hair. The name for these two can be Mustache Ride, another name for an oral sex position. Yang and Oobleck. And another ship name based on Yang's other set of weapons can be Bublek, if she ends up hot for teacher. Yang and Winter. Yang by now is clearly noted for packing some nuclear levels of heat, inspiring the name between her and Winter being Nuclear Winter, an effect after a nuclear explosion with dust blocking the sun's rays, choking out the heat. Winter could just turn the tables though to avoid this and make the dragon named Lass become her Frost Dragon. Yang and Crow. Like Ruby, Yang gets a ship with her uncle too. This time her fire element works with Crow's bird elements to give life to the eternal bird, the Phoenix. Yang and Ironwood. One thing Yang and Ironwood may share in the future is both of them rocking an iron fist due to their injuries. Beyond that though, there's also Fire Poker, which is used to help sort out the wood in a fire without getting your hands burned. Yang and Taiyang. Another family pair now. Both of these two have dragon as a part of their name, working with their shared yellow colours to make Golden Dragon. Unless you want to go pervy and go for Zhao Shlong, a play on their last names and, well, Taiyang's Wang. Yang and Summer. If paired with her second mother though, Yang and Summer can be called July, calling out to the lyric in Yang's theme I Burn that describes Yang as hotter than the sun in the middle of July. Yang and Raven. I Burn also doubles as the ship name for Yang's pairing with her birth mother, the song playing in the Yellow trailer when she's looking to battle her abandonment issues and try to look for her mother. Yang and Arslan. Another pair that clashed in the first fight of Volume 3, these two are Golden Lion, taking on the yellow cutters shared between them and adding in Arslan's supposed inspiration of Aslan the Lion from the Narnia series. Yang and Neon. Yang had a bit of a catfight in the tourney with this gal too, but Miss Pun Frenzy could add to her name to Neon's equally aggravating at points inspiration of the Nyan Cat to become Nyang Cat. Yang and Tuxen. Poor Tuxen. He gets killed before he could leave for safer lands, and now paired with Yang, that could possibly lead to some of his books becoming burning books. Yang and Lisa. Yep, I even found a ship involving the newscaster, Lisa Lavender. Thanks to Yang's habit of breaking things when fighting, I guess. This is ThatKaitoDan, reporting the breaking news. Back to you, Dan. Thanks, Dan. Okay, that's it for the second deeper look into the RWBY ship names, folks. Come back next time where we continue the insight with all the ships that involve one or more of Team Juniper. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on Twitter at ThatKaitoDan for updates, RWBY news, and more. Until then, have a good day or good night, and peace out.